For 5,000 years, humans have been trying to solve one thing. Not cancer, not aging, not heartbreak, the hangover. The history of hangover cures reads like a comedy of errors. Ancient Egypt, dried bird beaks. The Greeks, laurel wreaths soaked in olive oil. Mongolia, pickled sheep eyeballs in tomato juice. Today, we call that the Bloody Mary. Alcohol isn't just a drink. It's woven into all cultures. It marks celebrations and connections, and it's part of everyday life. But the biggest myth of all still lives on. This hangover is so bad. I swear I'll never drink again. We've all said it. We've all broken it. That's why 1 million people type hangover cure into Google every month. And if you're one of those late night searchers, you're not weak. You're part of the largest unofficial study in history. As a pharmacist, I can tell you 2 questions never go away. The first, can I take this medicine with alcohol? And 2, please tell me the cure for the hangover. For the first, we have textbooks. For the second, nothing. In school, we learned about alcohol metabolism, but nothing about hangovers. Instead, we got folklore and silly names. Last night's revenge, liquid regret, brain buster. Here's the truth. 2 billion people globally drink alcohol. 60% of US adults do. If each individual who consumed alcohol experienced just 4 hangovers a year, that would be more cases than the common cold, the flu, and allergies combined. Globally, alcohol contributes to 3 million deaths annually and cost $1.7 trillion in healthcare costs and lost productivity. So you see, hangovers are not trivial, they're universal, and they can be expensive. So if electrolyte drinks and greasy food and coffee make you feel really better, science says hangovers are not dehydration. They're inflammation, your biology in overdrive. Here's the kicker. Alcohol enters your body quickly and leaves quickly, but the misery doesn't hit until much later, when blood alcohol concentration is 0, not a trace in your body. That's when your inflammatory immune system is peaking in overdrive. And that is the very moment when decisions get made. Should I call in sick? Or should I stay in bed and order a burger and French fries? Or should I drag myself to work or drive the kids to soccer practice and just suffer through it? But we measured what happens in your body when you have a hangover. Pro-inflammatory cytokines and mediators like IL-6 and C-reactive protein, they surge. Oxidative stress, it ramps up, causing cellular damage and throwing them off balance. That's why you wake up in the morning in catastrophic mode. The symptoms, they match the biology. That pounding headache, that's neuroinflammation. That 3 a.m. insomnia, racing mind, that's neuroimmune imbalance. The GI distress, it's the same inflammatory pathways we see in irritable bowel syndrome. And if you're over 40, it's not in your head, it's in your immune system. And if you're over 60, I'm so sorry. So my team actually deconstructed the symptoms of hangover and studied them across populations. Some people genetically lack an enzyme called aldehyde dehydrogenase 2. It helps to metabolize alcohol. Now, their alcohol experience and their immune response is much more immediate and intense. But the biggest misery of all is that their risk of esophageal cancer is tenfold. And then there's another subset of individuals who are called alcohol hangover immune. They drink the same amount of alcohol as us mere mortals, but they wake up clear-headed and ready to go. Us scientists, we call them outliers. But if they're your friends, I'm sure you just call them liars. This genetic spectrum shows how differently individuals respond to the same inflammatory trigger. And here's the bigger picture. Inflammation is the red thread that ties together the biology of how we age. Hangovers, they eventually resolve. But chronic inflammation, it smolders on for a lifetime, causing diabetes, arthritis, heart disease, and dementia. It's like a hangover that never shuts off. Us longevity researchers, we call this inflammaging, low-grade chronic inflammation that drives aging. The hangover, that is inflammation that is spiked and condensed. What takes decades in aging occurs during a 12-hour hangover. That pounding head, that brain fog, that gut imbalance, it's the same immune pathways and the same inflammatory biomarkers compressed into one miserable morning. And the 4 drivers of inflammaging are the same 4 that shape a hangover: genetics, behavior, the environment, and age itself. This is why hangovers are a reproducible human model to study aging. But alcohol doesn't just hit one pathway, it disrupts multiple hallmarks of aging at once. The gut microbiome becomes dysregulated. Your immune system signaling goes out of whack. And it tests how strong your resilience is. That's how we can know when you recover from stress. And a hangover is like a mini stress test of that resilience. Now, what does this mean outside of the laboratory? A Dutch study found billions in euros lost annually due to hangover-induced absenteeism and presenteeism. That's showing up to work while working at half speed. But here's the study that really wakes people up. In driving simulation tests, our researchers found that people with hangovers drove as if they were under the influence, weaving more, slow reactions, and lapses in attention, even with a blood alcohol concentration of 0. So hangovers can be not only an expensive nap, they can be dangerous too, and worth addressing therapeutically. As a pharmacist, I was trained in the old model: 1 pill, 1 target. But biology doesn't work that way. Inflammation is a network. Our research shows that if you can quell 2 sparks, prostaglandins and histamines, you can radically reduce the intensity and duration of a hangover. And that raised the bigger picture. If we could reduce your hangover, what else could this knowledge provide us in longevity? And so here's where the awe comes in. A hangover, the thing we joke about, we suffer through, and promise will never repeat, may actually hold the key to understanding aging itself. And inflammaging, the slow burn that steals our health, if we can learn how to resolve it, we may just live better, more productive, healthier years. And who knows, maybe even live in harsher environments like space, where astronauts age faster. Or perhaps all of your inflammatory data will be woven together with your inflammatory data and ignite an intelligent network for us to learn how to defy aging. And that breakthrough would be a giant leap forward for mankind. So to all of you who have endured a hangover, thank you. You have been participating in the largest, the longest, and the messiest human study of inflammation. And who knows, your suffering may just be leading us to the fountain of youth. Cheers.